Greetings to Episcopalians. I'm presently in the Diocese of Georgia, and today we have celebrated with Christ Church Episcopal, the congregation that continues despite the movement of some former Episcopalians out of the Episcopal Church into relationship with the Anglican Church in Uganda. We're facing a number of difficult decisions and events in the coming months. Episcopalians have always asserted the reality that we are a diverse church and we're able to hold together within one body everyone who wishes to be part of that body. There's room for a wide variety of opinions, theological and liturgical and social in this church, and that's part of our great strength. We are diminished when some elements of the body decide they can no longer be part of us. But we need to reassure the members of this church that there is room for you if you want to be part of this body. As we have closed the celebration here at Christ Church Episcopal, we're reminded of the reality that the responsibility of officers and clergy in this church, of bishops and standing committees, is to retain and preserve the legacy of this church for the purposes for which it was given, for mission and ministry in the name of the Episcopal Church. That's what Christ Church Episcopal represents here in Georgia at this point. They're vigorously engaged in evangelism in this community. They're reaching out to their neighbors who felt disenfranchised, to those who've never been churched in this area. And the Episcopal Church, called Christ Church, continues in Savannah. Several dioceses are going to have conventions in the coming months where some members desire to lead others out of the Episcopal Church. That's a great lament. We are diminished when some of our members depart, and we will keep the door open and the porch light on for anyone who wishes to return, but the Episcopal Church will continue in those dioceses, even if some, including their leaders and perhaps their bishops, decide they will leave the Episcopal Church. We are faced right at this very moment with the aftermath of hurricanes in the Caribbean and on our southern coast. The people of Texas, the people of Haiti, which is our largest diocese in the Episcopal Church, the people of Cuba, for which this church has some responsibility, have been grievously affected by these natural disasters. We need to remember them in prayer and to do what we can to assist the recovery efforts. Episcopal Relief and Development is already working and will continue to work with the people most affected. I've had several powerful conversations in recent days with eminent Episcopalians whose names you would recognize. Some of them quite conservative Republicans, moderate Republicans across the spectrum. And to a person, they have said to me, it's time for us to get the gay issue behind us. We need to be, once again, a symbol in our culture of transformation, a symbol of the best of Christian values to those around us. We need to remember that as Episcopalians, and our Anglican heritage has always been to celebrate the diversity in our midst, even when we find it difficult to agree. There's room for a wide spectrum of opinions in this church. People who read the Bible with great passion can come to differing conclusions about the Word and what it means in their lives. The Civil War is a remarkable example of that in this country. People of good faith came to vastly differing conclusions on the appropriateness of slavery in this country, and we ended up fighting a war over it. We hope and pray that current controversies will lead to no more violence in this land. I urge you in the coming weeks and months to reach out to your fellow Episcopalians who may be feeling uncertain, who may be feeling uncomfortable, and remind them that there is a place for them in this church. I also urge you to remember that our mission is far broader than what the current controversies represent. Human sexuality is a part of our being, it is not the whole of our being. Matthew 25 reminds us that at the last judgment, those who will be welcomed in God's kingdom are those who have fed the hungry and watered the thirsty and visited the imprisoned and cared for the sick. when you and I ignore the needs of all our neighbors, when we're not focused on the needs of the whole community, we have not fulfilled the fullness of our mission. We give thanks for the witness of the church around the world, for the witness of the church in places of disaster, for the witness of the church in the constancy of congregations, small and large, serving their neighbors, preaching the gospel, praying for people in their own communities and around the world. I urge you to continue in the work to which Jesus calls us.